Did you know that your ancestry is just a click away? Today we're going to discuss online genealogy, how to find your ancestors online. Do you want to know who you are? Good. Let's get started with Genealogy Quick Start. The amount of information available online is amazing. You can connect with family in the past as well as in the present. But genealogy was not always that easy before the internet. You had to do a lot more traveling. And I remember back in the day when my cousin Floyd used to travel down south in his Toyota Coronas researching our family history, he would come back with stories about archives and courthouses and plantations. I especially loved the stories that included plantations and rifles. Yes, my cousin traveled a little too far over the property lines looking for his family history. He would come home with these huge documents, and they contained the names of family, and they were census records. What was interesting is seeing these documents from the 1800s that included names of people who are responsible for me being me. But now you can have hundreds of those documents right in the palms of your hands. How do you get started? Well, first you want to start with the question. What do you want to know? Then you're going to use my quick start method for online genealogy. I have my cousin Tori here today, and we're going to use this method to research his family. So let's start with the question. What does Tori want to know about his family history? Hey Tori, how are you?
Good, how are you?
So I am so excited that you're interested in family history. It's always great to have the next generation who's interested. So why are you even interested?
Just interested because we got a lot of information now about our history, so I'm just trying to delve more into my paternal side. So, just find more information out about my history.
So who do you want to know about?
Right now, my grandfather, great-grandfather.
Okay, and what was his name?
His name was Wilbert Battle.
Mm-hmm.
He was from Philly, then I know.
Okay.
Saw a picture, he looks like me.
Okay.
So, and he's a tap dancer. Was.
He was a tap dancer? Have you
Yeah.
ever felt this inner tap where you want to
I
just tap it out?
I was born knowing how to tap dance.
So you know his name and you think he's from Philly. You're not sure if he was from somewhere else before then.
Yeah, not too sure.
Okay, we could start right there. We could just jump in and start researching him. But it might be a good idea for you to reach out to your great-grandmom, see if she knows a little bit more information that can help you with your research.
I'll call her right now.
Okay. So while Tori is calling his great-grandmom, let me show you the quick start method for online genealogy. Before we get started with researching Tori's peeps, let me just share with you the quick start method for online genealogy. Step 1, ask the question, who was living in 1940? For the line you're interested in, who was living, who were they living with, and where were they living? Why am I talking about the 1940 census? Because that is the newest census record that is available to researchers. The U.S. Census was taken every 10 years. You have available 1940 back to 1790. My method focuses on using census records. For me, I expected that my grandmom in 1940, she'd be 12 years old, living with her father Melvin and her brother Harvey, or Harvey Lee as they called him down south. So when I searched 1940, there she was, with her father, her brother, and her stepmom. Step 3, search the 1930 census. The 1930 census, again, I found my grandmom very easily, and she again was with her father and her brother, but she was also with her favorite childhood friends, Minnie Lee and Johnny Lee, who happened to be her first cousins. Step 4, fill in with vital records. I had it pretty easy. I was able to get my grandmom very quickly in 1940, very quickly in 1930. But sometimes it's just not that easy. So that's when you want to look up vital records, birth records, death records, marriage, and divorce. They did get divorced back in the day. So when you find those records, you'll find things like parentage, you might find some locations that you didn't know, so then you use that information to continue searching your family back in time. Step 5, continue searching the census records. Take all of that wonderful information that you gathered from the previous census and the vital records and use that to find more information about your family. This could go surprisingly quick, or it might take some time, but just keep focusing on the census records. Keep it simple. That's my quick start method. So now let's use this method to help Tori find his family. So Tori, you talked to your great-grandmom.
Yep.
What did you learn from her about your great-grandfather Wilbert Battle?
I learned about that he's from actually Rocky Mount, North Carolina. That his parents' names are Nellie and Frank.
Okay, that's good information.
And
did you find out when he was born? Because you
Yeah.
had said the 20s.
1926.
Okay, perfect. That is great information for us to get started. There's one tip that I did that she might not have told you that I know.
Okay.
Is that he had a brother named Julius.
Okay, yeah, she didn't tell me
He
that.
used to ride his bike from Philly to Berlin to visit your mom and her sister when they were little. It was really cool. He had on a suit jacket and he had one of them high bikes. I loved it. So let's get online and research and look for your family.
Okay.
We're going to use the Quick Start. And to use the Quick Start, you can either use Ancestry, which is a subscription, or you can use Family Search, which is free. So we're going to use Ancestry. So you put in Wilbert Battle. Let's put in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And there it is showing up down there. Arrow down a couple times.
Nice.
Perfect. Select that. And then for the birth year, put in 1926. And let's see what we can find on your great-grandfather. So when you do your initial search, you're just getting everything.
Okay.
But when you use my Quick Start method, you're going to focus on the census record. So let's find the 1940 census. So over there on the left-hand side,
Okay.
you can see census at the top.
Yeah.
So click that one, and then select 1940. Select it over in there.
This one.
Yeah. And this will show you only 1940 census.
Right.
Let's look at that very first one. So the first two say he was born in North Carolina. These Wilbur Battles were like the same year, North Carolina. Let's look at the first one. So click on the 1940 for the first one.
Okay.
All right, scroll down. We see he's 13 years old.
Okay. Oh.
And look at that. So we have Nellie that we knew was his mom, but she has a different last name, Prattman, and she's with this guy, James.
Okay.
We also see him with his brother.
Yeah.
So this looks like this is probably him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, perfect. So we searched the 1940 census. We found him with his brother and his mom.
Okay.
Let's now search the 1930 census. So you want to just go all the way to the top and go back and do all results.
All results.
All right, so now we want to choose census again, and this time choose 1930. When you click filter it like that, then you only see 1930.
Okay.
So this one, so this one is weird. We don't actually see him. So let's try another search. Go back up and click on edit your search. And instead of looking for Wilbur, put in Julius.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you can't find your person and you know that they'll be in the household with another person, you'll search for them instead. Click on search up top. So we see a Julia. So for some reason, we're not seeing him here. So what do you do? Remember, we do the census records, and then if we don't find anything, we look for vital records, right?
Yeah.
So let's do a new search.
Okay.
So this time, we're going to look for Frank and Nellie and try to maybe find their marriage record. So let's put in Frank Battle. And for the location, we want to keep the same location, Rocky Mount.
Right.
Select that. And let us put in 1900 for a birth year.
Birth year.
And then search. Now, we want to go and filter down to just birth, marriage, and death records. So see underneath census, we want to filter that out and say we only want to look at marriage records. So select marriage and divorce on the filter. So this is interesting right here. We see a Frank with a Leela, but we see Julius and we see Alice. So let's select that one. That one seems kind of possibly promising. Okay. So there they are black people. It says COL. You might not know we used to be called colored. So click on the one to view that actual marriage record. And go ahead and scroll up so we can see it. So there's lots of great information on here. You can see that Frank Battle, who is marrying, Frank Battle, and his parents, it says son of Jesse Battle and Alice. So you started off just knowing Frank. Now you have Frank's parents.
Yeah.
And then Leela, who was actually Nellie, and we're going to look her up, her parents are Jesse Hines and Lizzie. So we have all of these additional people. Now we can use that information. So maybe we'll search for Jesse Hines and see what we can find. What do you think?
Yeah.
So that was step 4, I think, with looking at the vital records. So now we want to go to step 5 and just continue searching the census records. So go back to your results. And let's edit our search. And this time, let's just look for Jesse Hines, because remember we couldn't find Nellie?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find her with her dad. So Jesse, and the last name is Hines. Take out the birth year. And where it says lived in, just add the location. This is where you'll add the location.
Rocky Mount.
Yes, Rocky Mount. That's a cool name, Rocky Mount.
Right.
Sound like some great things happen there. Let's click on search. Focus again now on the census record. So go back to your filters on the left-hand side and choose all categories. Now choose census records once that shows up. Okay, and we want to go to 1930 because that's where we did not find her. So filter 1930. And there they are. Right on the top, Jesse and Leela. So let's select them and let's open the census record. Let's open it up. Let's look at this census. All right, there they are. Now use your mouse and swipe this over. Now zoom in so we can see those names really big.
Right here, right?
Yes, just once. All right, so you see Jesse Hines with his wife Lizzie, and down here we have Leela Battle. So before we knew her only as Nellie, right?
Yeah.
So here she is as Leela. Like, I don't know why her name is Leela, but we know this is her because her name is Battle, and her husband was Frank. And look at who her children are.
Yeah.
Julius and Wilbur. So sometimes, a lot of times people get stuck on spellings of names and they say, oh, that's not mine because it's Wilbur and it's Wilbert. You got to let that go because census aren't perfect. So in this census record, you have the family, you have their relationship. So Jesse is the head of the household. This is his wife Lizzie and his children, mother-in-law, and his nephews and nieces. Over here, it gives you their ages. So your great-great-grandma was 23 years old in 1930. And this over here is just telling us where she was born, her father was born, and her mother was born. So North Carolina, you have a lot of ancestry in North Carolina. And look at all these people that you now have on your tree.
Yeah.
So we were able to find them in the 1940, 1930 census. Let's see if we can find Frank. Okay. So let's go back and go to all results again. And this time we're going to do the edit search. And let's search for Frank. Because you really want to know about the Battles clan, right?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and search. All right. So we're looking for Frank in 1930 census. And who's at top?
Right here.
Yeah, let's see if that's him. Click on it and let's see. So we don't know that this is him. Go back. And because we're unsure about this Frank, let's see if we see any other Franks in Rocky Mount. Scroll down. So don't see any. So let's skip the 1930 for Frank, and now let's go to 1920. So just choose your filters. Yep, you got it. You're getting those filters. These filters are important because it filters out things that you don't want to look at right now. So let's do 1920. And let's see that first one. Hover over that first one. All right, since we don't see Frank, who was Frank's parents? Julius.
Yeah, Julius.
So let's do edit the search. And this is what happens. It's not always straightforward. Let's do Julius as the first name and see what we find. Because we could find a brother or we could find a dad.
Right. Battle, right?
Yep, and do a search. Hover, let's do that, Julius. Click on that one.
Eugene.
Yep, click on that census. So that's them right there. Make this big. And bigger still. All right, now scroll it over so we can see those names. So here you have your Frank, and he's with Alice, and it's spelt wrong, and Julius. And we know that's him because we had his parents on that marriage record. All right, so what you would normally do is keep going back. You go to 1910, 1900, and just keep going. So if you go back, I'd like to show you what your tree looks like. So go up to trees. And choose the Battle family tree. Yeah. So this is the tree that you can create on Ancestry.
Okay.
When you find those census records, you can attach them to people. So when I looked through your census records, we went from Frank Battle, and we were able to find his grandparents, so Julius and Alice, and then we went back another generation to his ancestor Caesar. And so you went from having an ancestor that was born in 1926 to ancestors that were in slavery.
Yeah.
So one thing that I would suggest is that from the census records, you were able to find a lot of different stuff. But then what you want to do now is maybe go a little deeper.
Yeah.
Are you ready to go a little deeper?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in there.
All right, one way that you can go deeper is to find vital records. Like you have all of these couples. You have Dawson and Winnie, Lewis and Lucinda, Caesar and Jane. So there's probably lots of marriage records on them.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some of the marriage records that I was able to find on them. So select Caesar or Cesar, I don't know which one it is, and go to his profile.
Picture?
I would love to see a picture of your ancestors. So this is on Ancestry. You can save documents to people, and if you scroll down a little bit, there should be a marriage. See that North Carolina marriage? Down, down. So select that marriage. So this is your ancestor Caesar. Select View. So select the record. All right. So you're gonna have to zoom in because this is kind of little, And
Okay.
he's probably...
Jane Porter.
You see her? Good eye, Tori. Zoom in. Now scroll it over. So here we have, so sometimes you get marriage records, but sometimes you just get these kind of like register type book things. Silzer, right? Silzer, but we know that this is Caesar. So it tells us, look, 1881 they were married. 1881, March 3rd. So that's pretty cool. So go back. Let's now go back one more, close that. Go up and back.
Oh, we're at the...
Yep, this is his, so go up and then go
to the tree.
to the tree. And this time, we're gonna choose Dawson, no, choose, who was the next one that I did? It was Alice, Julius and Alice. So let's choose Alice. I like that name, Alice. Profile.
All right.
And see, you have all these shaky leaves. Those are hints of other records that you can possibly find on your ancestor. So let's look at the marriage record for Alice. So this record looks similar to the one that we saw for Frank and Nellie. Scroll down, or up actually. Oh, yeah, up. So look at that. Now we have Julius, and it's telling us that it's son of Caesar and Jane. And Alice's parents are Frank and Bunny. You got an ancestor named Bunny. And see, this is really interesting in that they tell you that the father is still living, but the mother is dead. So that's information you can use. By 1903, the mom was dead.
Okay. Yeah.
So going deeper, you still kind of get into those vital records, but do you want to go a little deeper than that? All right.
Keep going all the way.
So one thing that we don't think about is just Googling our ancestors.
Yeah.
So let's go back, and we're going to Google some of your ancestors. So let's go to, there you go.
Just Google, right?
Do a new tab and type in Lewis and Lucinda Porter, Edgecombe County, North Carolina. And let's see, what do we find? What?
Genealogy?
Yeah, it looks like you might have had a cousin that's researching your family.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we see? What this is someone created like a family tree online, and it says that she was born 1841, and if we look back at our census record, we'd probably say, yep, this is her. But look at what it says for married. What's it say for married?
1859.
1859. Slavery ended in 65. So that's pretty interesting. You notice it has a little number next to it? Click on it. Those are usually citations. It's very important to do citations so people know where you got your stuff from. So what's number 3 say?
Somebody knows my name, Bernetta McKee White, Iberian Publishing, Cohabitation Records of Edgecombe County.
So these are cohabitation records.
Slaves of Kemp Battle Plantation.
Listed as slaves of Kemp Battle Plantation. Amazing. So what that is, a cohabitation record. So you know slaves, it was illegal for them to get married. That does not mean that slaves didn't legally get married, but it was illegal.
Yeah.
And what this is that after the Civil War ended, they went around to solemnize marriages of the newly freed slaves.
Okay.
And so what they called them were cohabitation records. So they're pretty much the same or similar to marriage records.
Right.
So you have a record of a slave marriage.
That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. So to me, this is great.
Yeah.
But it's not awesome. You know what would be awesome?
What's that?
If we had the actual record to show this. Because she says, listed as slaves on Kemp Battle Plantation. A cohabitation record says that these people were at this place and they're getting married. I don't believe that that record is going to say that they were slaves on this plantation. If they do, that would be great. But just because they were there in 1866 does not mean that they were there during slavery. You don't want to make leaps like that.
Okay.
So let's now see if we can find the actual cohabitation record. So go back up to the top and type familysearch.org. Now, Family Search is a free site. You don't have to pay for it. Let's scroll up to the top. Let me make sure that I'm logged in. Click on Sign In. You should get a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. Click on Sign In. All right. You are going to click on Search and Records. Search Records up the top. And put in Lewis Porter again. Let's see. Okay, it's given us too much. So see on the side where it says refine your search, click on residence.
All right.
Down residence, there you go. And put in Edgecombe, NC, COMBE. That's the county where they were living, NC for North Carolina. And search. Okay. So we see Lewis Porter. Yep. So that one is a death record. The one above that is a death record. Do me a favor and click on spouse. Let's try to filter this even more and put in Lucinda. DA. All righty. Let's see. Look at that.
Yeah.
Down, see where it says North Carolina County Marriages?
Yeah.
Click there. And look at that. It looks like there's a record there. Click on that record. I don't think you know how lucky you are. I think you're getting it. Your eyes are a little spread.
It's kind of like wild.
All right. So this, zoom in, the pluses are on the left. This is a cohabitation record that shows, let's see the top, zoom in more, zoom in a lot more. All right, scroll down, or up, up. Yeah, so we can see the top. So see this more, go all the way up. All right, so see it says Kemp P. Battle Plantation, so that was accurate, that it was on Kemp Battle Plantation. This is from 1866.
Yeah.
And it says the following named parties, freedmen and women, appeared before me and acknowledged that they had been living together as man and wife from the dates below. So let's scroll down. Let's see their names. There they are. Whoa. Lewis and Lucinda, and it says 1859, and they had 3 children.
Wow, and it said freedmen and women.
Yep. Pretty cool, right?
It's wild.
So let's take a look at your tree real quick. So when we started, you knew Wilbur Battle.
Yeah.
Your great grandfather. And now you've gone back to your great, 3 times great, 4 times great, 5 times great. Just using my quick start method and going a little deeper.
Yeah.
So that's all you have to do the quick start method for online genealogy research. Torrey had a lot of success. He was able to use the census records and go back all the way to slavery. He even found a cohabitation record from his ancestors from 1859. So do you want to know who you are? Use my quick start method and you'll be surprised at the number of ancestors that you can find very quickly. So that is Genealogy Quick Start. Thank you so much for joining us and happy ancestral hunting.